What's up, Grayson Report? Happy Thursday. How is everyone doing? What is up, Julissa, Denny Rose, Tammy, Carol, Heather, whatever? How is everyone doing? We'll wait a few minutes for people to trickle in. Has anyone watched anything interesting or like any movie that you recommend? What is up, Emily Parkinson? The Karen Show. What is up? If you guys haven't done so already, please follow the Karen Show. She does some awesome stuff over there. Kind of almost similar to me. I have not watched any movies this week, I'll admit. Okay. No, I have not watched any movies. I've watched like TV series, but not movies. The Karen Show goes, great minds like ours think alike. Exactly. We're kind of having I don't know, like a mini heat wave here in SoCal. It's been in the 80s. It's been kind of warm. Kind of warm and sunny. I think tomorrow is supposed to be the hottest. I think we were mid 80s today. I think it's going to be upper 80s tomorrow. And then it starts to cool down back in the 70s, back to normal weather. But it's kind of nice to bask in the sun a little bit when you haven't had it in a while. I love cold weather, so it doesn't. Denny has gotten a snowstorm and it's been freezing for 2 days. Wow. I like the cold. Maybe not that cold, Denny, but I do like the cold. Heather, whatever goes, today was our hottest. 59 felt good. I hate cold weather. I should move where you're at, Heather, whatever, because I prefer the cold. I do. I actually prefer the cold because at least in the cold, you can find relief. Like you put in a jacket, put, a blanket on, heating blanket. Like when it's hot, like if you don't have an air conditioning, like there's no relief. Really, there isn't. Besides jumping in a pool. Diddy goes, I'll switch with you anytime. I don't know about that cold. Because I've never lived in that cold. I'd probably be like, no. While we're waiting for people to trickle in, I've got some movies that are upcoming movies that horror movies that are getting streaming releases for those of you that like VOD. Women in the Yard, I think it just came out like last week. I think it was last week. It's a Blumhouse film. I've kind of lost faith. No, 2 weeks ago. Came out the beginning of the month. I kind of lost faith in Okay, I should be back. Am I back? No. Okay. I don't know what happened. Crazy stuff. Heather whatever goes, no shadow people rescue her. Carol goes, we've been getting 30s to 50s during the day and down in the 20s at night. I didn't realize I was gone until because I was looking at something until I saw the comments. And then I looked over here and I was like, oh crap, I'm off. I don't know what happened. But as I was saying, I don't know what you missed, what you heard, so I'm going to repeat myself because I'm not sure when I blacked out. Um, I do have some movies that are going into VOD for those of you that like VOD. I usually wait for the movies to come on a streaming service. But we have Woman in the Yard. It is a Blumhouse film. Um it just was literally, I think it was released at the beginning of this month, like 2 weeks ago, and it already has a VOD um a digital streaming date, which I feel like it doesn't sound like that movie did too well. I used to like Blumhouse, but I kind of I don't know, because Blumhouse now wants to remake the Blair Witch Project and talk about remaking other things. And you guys know how I feel about remakes. I don't think they need to remake Blair Witch Project. I feel like the what made it so successful was what people thought it was real at the time. So that is what brought hype to it. So if they bring that back, and it also introduced us to like that shaky cam perspective type of movies, it kind of set that off in that time. So it was something unique. So I feel like if you re-release that movie now, it's not going to have that same effect. So The Woman in the Yard, I don't know if any of you have seen it in theaters, but like I said, I'm probably usually with a lot of the movies lately, I've been waiting for them to go on a streaming service that I do have because I got a bunch of them. Is having a digital release. I mean, the trailer looks cool, but just because the trailer looks cool doesn't mean the movie is cool. But like I said, I haven't seen it, so I can't say if it's good or not. The Woman in the Yard, a horror thriller starring Danielle Deadweiler, is coming soon to digital streaming, directed by Juam Colette Sarah and produced by Blumhouse Pictures. The Woman in the Yard was released in theaters on March 28th. My bad. It was at the end of last month. Thought it was the beginning of this month. The summary for the film reads: a lone spectacle woman shrouded entirely in black appears on a family front lawn without explanation and warns them, today is the day. Where did she come from? What does she want? When will she leave? Only the woman in the yard knows. And this is the woman in the yard. That, and literally, she is a woman in the yard. I am not kidding you. Oh, Okwe Okpukwasili. I do apologize if I butchered that name. Also stars in The Woman in the Yard as the titled character alongside Russell Hornsby, Peyton Jackson, and Estella Kahiha. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing that correctly too. The Woman in the Yard is expected to be released on Tuesday, April 15th, tax day here in the States, on digital streaming via video on demand. When to stream reported. While when to stream PVOD reports are typically accurate, the streamer tracker noted that The Woman in the Yard studio, Universal Pictures, has not announced or confirmed the release date, and it's subject to change. The Woman in the Yard's 18-day theatrical debut to PVOD window falls in line with the release pattern of previous Universal Pictures, which is super quick, because I remember for us to see anything that was in the theaters, it took like a couple months. Now it's like weeks. PVOD released including Wolfman, which arrived on PVOD on February 1st or 4th, 18 days after its release in theaters on January 17th. I had a chance to see Wolfman. I was not impressed. I was kind of excited for that one, but honestly, I mean, it was a decent movie if you weren't thinking it was a Wolfman movie. Yeah. The Woman in the Yard is already available for pre-order if you guys are into buying video on demand, but like I always say, if they lose the license to the video, you'll lose it even if you pay for it. So sometimes it's better to buy things physically if you are one to collect movies that way. And I know VOD is way easier. You could take it anywhere with you. You don't have to pop something into the player. Um, which is convenient, which I like. It's kind of like streaming music nowadays. I used to be a big CD collector, and then I swore off digital until I started doing it, and I was like, "What?" So, but there you are. If you guys are into P or video on demand, Women in the Yard's coming out on April 15th. Emily, thank you for gifting one membership. Welcome, Allie Dude, to the Wolfpack. Hearts for Emily, guys. Thank you, Emily. I appreciate that. Delea Lux, what is up? Nerd Report goes, all the toys behind Lisa were stolen from me. Please ask her to give them. No, they weren't. I got receipts. No, I'm just kidding. We also got Locked. I actually saw the trailer. I came across Locked. I heard of it, but I didn't know exactly what it was. It does star Bill Skarsgård. And actually, I did see the trailer for this, and it looked super interesting. So I'm kind of excited for this one. But again, I'm probably gonna wait for it to come to a streaming service. But Locked also has a digital and DVD release date set. It also stars Anthony Hopkins, one of my favorite actors. I do love Anthony Hopkins. I do follow him on Instagram. I love watching him play piano and seeing his cat. He is amazing and talented actor. Paramount Pictures has announced that the Locked digital and DVD release dates for its newest suspense thriller, led by Oscar winner Anthony Hopkins as William Larson, and John Wick Chapter 4 star Bill Skarsgård as Eddie Barish. The movie hails from Evil Dead creator Sam Raimi, who serves as a producer. When Eddie breaks into a luxury SUV, he steps into a deadly trap set by William, a self-proclaimed vigilante, delivering his own brand of twisted justice. With no means of escape, Eddie must fight to survive in a ride where escape is an illusion, survival is a nightmare, and a justice shifts into high. If you guys haven't seen this trailer, I suggest you check it out. It looks super cool. I have not seen the movie yet, unfortunately. When is the Locked digital and DVD release dates? Locked will be available to rent or own on digital platforms starting on April 22nd. It will then be followed by its DVD release for those of you that collect DVDs or physical copies on August 26th. I don't even know if there's people that still do that. Since making its theatrical debut last March, the movie has received a Tomatometer rating of 65% on Rotten Tomatoes based on 66 reviews. I actually don't go by those reviews. I usually just watch the movie myself. And then I make the decision, because there's some people like some of the Oscar winning movies, for example, that won an Oscar, and then you go watch it and it ends up being like, how is this an Oscar winner? Like when I watch them. The film was directed by David Yarovesky from a screenplay written by Michael Arlen Ross based on 2019 Argentinian action movie 4x4. Additional cast members include Gabriel Walsh, Michael Eklund, Dan Payne, Ashley Cartwright, Navid Chokshi, and more. The event Avenue and Paramount Pictures also handled the horror thriller distribution. Prior to its theatrical release, the Motion Picture Association had given the movie an R rating. It is a super short movie. It has a total runtime, not short, of 95 minutes or 1 hour and 35 minutes, but that is short. But I feel like that's a good amount of time to watch a movie, because sometimes when you get these almost long movies, like even 2 hours, and you're like, "Ugh." Dusty, what is up? Guys who are fans of Ghost Adventure, the new season starts next Wednesday. Yeah, next Wednesday, April 16th on Discovery and Max. For those of you that have been waiting, I know a lot of people that are fan of the show have been waiting forever. Um, and they are going to start out with the Poltergeist house, the house that was filmed where Poltergeist was filmed. It was recently sold. The original owner had the house for 40 years. The new owner now claims that it is haunted. I don't think it is. Because honestly, if the previous owner was there for 40 years and never peeped a word of anything, it's either that or they just didn't care to be um care to be publicized, maybe. But still, I feel like if there was something that really happened there, that they would have said something. And plus, the new owners just bought the house, and I'm sure it was super expensive, so they're trying to pay for the mortgage. So, but I'm still looking forward to seeing it. I kind of so I can't wait to see that. That's next Wednesday, April 16th on Discovery or Max. I have Max. Um, there is new news involving Victoria Goodwin, who is the well, he filed for divorce, so I don't know if I can say soon to be ex-wife or his ex. I'll just stick it ex. Um, Aaron Goodwin's ex, Victoria Goodwin. They did unfortunately drop one of the charges against her. Um, which kind of sucks. I mean, if I was that person that it was targeted to, I'd kind of be upset. Um, the soliciting murder charges against the wife of Ghost Adventure star Aaron Goodwin will be dropped as part of a plea deal, while prosecutors will continue with the charge of conspiracy to commit murder. Victoria Goodwin, who is 32, has denied wanting to have her husband killed or unalived. YouTube. She was arrested in March after corresponding with Grant Amato, an inmate in custody for murder in a Florida prison. Police said messages between the two included planning a murder for hire plot against Goodwin's husband, Aaron Goodwin. The couple lives in Vegas. The message between Goodwin and the inmate included how much the two were in love and that her husband wouldn't accept a divorce, according to police. As part of the plea deal, the charge of soliciting murder would be dropped. The case was bound up to the Clark County District Court. Goodwin will be arraigned on the conspiracy to commit murder charge on April 22nd. So obviously, she did take a plea deal, but we will know more on April 22nd, the end of the month here. The Karen show goes, another new owner wants to make money. It was a movie set. I don't think they filmed inside. They just used the outside for the movie. I don't think the house is haunted. Yeah, I agree, Karen. I don't think the Poltergeist house is haunted, and I totally agree with you. I think it's just they bought a new house. It was super expensive, and they're trying to make money to help pay for the mortgage, which I don't blame them. I don't blame them. Things here in California are super expensive. I think the house is in Semi Valley, if I'm not mistaken. Here in SoCal, it's super expensive to live here, so I don't blame them. And then also to have the Ghost Adventure cast in your house, like, come on, that's cool. Like, I would not, not, say no, I don't want to do it. You know what I mean? Like, that would be cool, regardless. It, I mean, I don't know if they interview the owner of the house in it, but we will find out. But I don't think I would want to be on TV, but just to have the Ghost Adventure crew in my house, I'd be flabbergasted. So I don't blame the people at all. I really don't. I mean, it's sad that people resort to that, but I don't blame them for doing that. Um, I do know that the movie set was riddled with curses. I mean, obviously, the main one we know that they actually used real skeletons in the pool scene. Um, the actress didn't know at the time, until after she did find out. Um, we had unfortunate, there were a lot of deaths, but I don't think it's due to a curse because the preacher in the second one, he was suffering from cancer. Unfortunately, we lost the actress Heather O'Rourke, who played Carol Ann. I believe the actor who played um the Native American in the second one. I love that character. Um, he also passed away. I think he was having surgery and he passed away from complications to it, if I'm not mistaken. Um, but I honestly don't think. I mean, I guess it's kind of sad that people resort to doing that, like oh, I have a house that might be haunted, um, to make money off of it, but I don't fault them for it at all. But I'm still looking forward to it because Poltergeist. I grew up watching Poltergeist. It is one of my favorite movies. Um, it was, I still watch it to this day, like over and over again. Julissa Goes Poltergeist was the first horror movie I watched in theater as a kid. I could not sleep that night. That one, I don't think that one affected me as much. Poltergeist didn't affect me. It was Nightmare on Elm Street that did. Nightmare on Elm Street always affected me. I think the worst out of all of them because he can get you in your dreams. So that was where, oh my God, like I don't want to go to sleep. He could get me. I'm gonna wake up and he's gonna be, coming through my wall. Like I could not sleep after watching Nightmare on Elm Street. Julissa goes, I was only 9. I was too young, I think. When did it come out? Yeah. I wasn't old enough to I think I watched it later. But it is one of my favorite movies. Also, too, guys, if you're a fan of The Last of Us, the second season will be out on Max on April 13th. I liked the game. I wasn't a super fan of the game. I tried to watch the first season. I just could not get into it, so I'm not really looking forward to the second one. I really don't. I tried to get into it and I couldn't personally. But for those of you that are fans of it, it is coming out on April 13th. Also, I think if you're local, Julissa Goes Nightmare on Elm Street was another one that actually really scared me. That one scared me. Denny Rose, it was Alien and The Exorcist. I slept with my mom for months. I was terrified. Delia Goes Rosemary's Baby and Carrie. Mine was like when I was growing up, it was Michael, Jason, Freddy Krueger, and it was Freddy Krueger. Like Michael, I would still be like this when I was watching them. but it wasn't as bad as, I mean, Freddy was like, it gave me nightmares until I was like older. Until later. Like obviously later I got ended up being into horror because I enjoyed it. But but Freddy. Freddy was the crazy thing. But if you are local here to LA, this has been all over the news. The basis, if you're a fan of Weezer, I wasn't really a fan of Weezer. I never really liked Weezer. Um, but the basis or the wife of the basis of Weezer, she shot an episode. Only reason why I'm mentioning her, I was gonna mention because of but she shot an episode of Ghost Adventures. which is kind of weird because this is like completely different than what she was in the news for. Um, Apparently she was involved with she was booked on attempted murder charges yesterday. But Weezer's bassist wife, I shot an episode of Ghost Adventures about a serial killer. Weezer's bass player Scott Schreiner's wife is getting lots of attention for being pew-pewed by LAPD officers and getting booked for attempted murder. But before she got famous for being pew-pewed by cops, she pew-pewed an episode because it said she shot an episode of Zach Bagans' TV show. Production sources tell TMZ Jillian Lauren Schreiner filmed an episode of Ghost Adventures back in November at Zach's Haunted Museum in Vegas. We're told the episode was all about serial killer Samuel Little. Jillian's an expert on the guy because she once wrote a book about him. Our sources say in the episode, Jillian, I have never heard of him. Samuel Little. Have any of you guys heard of Samuel Little? Usually I follow serial killers, but I've never heard of him. I know the basic ones like Dahmer, Gacy, Guillen, like those I know, but I have never heard Samuel Little. Our sources say in the episode, Jillian shares a bunch of details about Samuel and her experiences spending years alongside him writing his biography, including some graphic details and threats he allegedly made to her during interviews. As we first reported, Jillian was in possession of Samuel's ashes, and she turned them over to Zach back in September so Bagans could display them in his museum. Why would you want the ashes of a serial killer? I mean, I have ashes in my house, but they're of my parents. So that's a different thing. Like, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about ashes. Like, I mean, you have guests over and they look over and they're like, what is that? And you're like, oh, that's the ashes of a serial killer. I don't know. I mean, I guess to each his own. In the Ghost Adventures episode, we're told Jillian revealed that while she had Samuel's ashes in her home, she felt very dark and depressed and realized she needed to get them out of her house. I mean, I guess you could get affected by people's ashes. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, if it was someone that was dark and evil during their lifetime, I would think that after death they would remain the same. And if you were possession of anything that they owned, I feel like, yeah, that energy could transfer to you. I do think that could happen. Our sources say Sam also made a portrait of Jillian that Zach has at his museum alongside other portraits Sam made of his 93 confessed victims. Sam made drawings of each person he unalived, so it's strange. He also drew Jillian. We're told the episode is expected to air this season on Ghost Adventures, which premieres April 16th, and Jillian's appearance figures to bring more eyeballs, giving her wild interaction this week with LAPD. That actually sounds kind of cool. Julianne has heard of Little. Julissa goes, I heard about the wife. Julissa also said, yes, the serial killer's ashes aren't the same as lava. No. I feel like I said, I feel like someone that was dark, evil, demented during life would definitely carry on to death. And I would think it would rub off on their possessions, including their ashes. And I probably would not want that in my house. I mean, to each his own. There's people that collect those things. So, I mean, I collect weird things. I can't, get on people that collect weird things because I collect weird things. So, to each his own. The Karen shows that was sad, the death of Heather O'Rourke. It said it was some kind of neglect. So sad, poor little girl. I visited her grave when I was over there. Oh, wow. Not cool about her death, but cool that you visited her grave. I mean, it's sad, but I don't know. I've seen the stories about her because they've done, like the biography. And they said, they interviewed her mom and they said that she was the type of person that would work no matter what. And I'm kind of the same way, but I push through things. and I'll work, but at the same time, um, I feel like you can noticeably see like something was wrong because if you watch Poltergeist 3, you could see she's all um you could see there's something wrong. Like she's all bloated in a way, you know what I mean? I don't want to say it in a bad way, but she was like, she wasn't the little girl that we saw in the first one. She was you could tell, and it's sad. And then what happened to Dominic Dunn as well? Um it was like a crime of passion thing. Her boyfriend actually killed her or unalived her. So there are a lot of deaths. Um and it happened before Poltergeist. I think what, like a few months before Poltergeist was supposed to come out, I think, or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. She was super young. She was 12 when she passed. That is super young to die. I think even the actress who played Tangina, I think her name was in there. She passed, but I don't think she passed from, but she didn't pass until 2010. But they like to say stuff like that. Carol, yes, he is. And as always, thank you, Carol, for reminding me because I usually say it at the beginning. Skeleduck is somewhere in this background. It is not him. That is, wait, hold on. It's not this one. This is Skeleduck's brother who goes to the gym. I have not named him yet. I'm trying to figure out a name. But Skeleduck is somewhere in this background. If you guys don't know who Skeleduck is, he does look similar to this one, but a little thinner. um, he is pictured on my upper right hand corner, could be your upper left hand corner. That is what he looks like. I hide him every stream. Just remind me at the end of the stream and I will reveal him. I will reveal his location. Thank you, Carol, for reminding me. So I actually, what? They can't open my link? So D Nice actually brought this to my attention and I was kind of like, what? Yeah, right. Because I kind of, when I see, websites, I kind of take them for a grain of salt, like, because I don't know the website. So I was thinking that it was not that it was that I was thinking that the article itself was inaccurate. And then after, because you know how weird things happen after you talk about something or you click on something and all of a sudden it appears everywhere. So then when I'm scrolling through Facebook, I see all these articles about it and I was like, okay, there's something up with this. But because I know this isn't really spooky, but I am a lover of wolves, and this is kind of cool. But the dire wolves have been brought back from extinction. I've seen other articles where it said that it kind of contradicts itself, um, but it's saying the dire wolves have been brought back from extinction. What does this mean? They are a beautiful wolf. I do love wolves, obviously. I mean, we've got the wolf pack here. The sci-fi fairy tale of de-extinction may become a reality. Colossal laboratories and biosciences announced they have revived dire wolves from extinction, unveiling 3 canines it had genetically engineered to resemble the long-dead species. On Tuesday, I mean, the fact that, with our technology that they could do this, but yet there's no cure for cancer, I feel like, or unless there is and they just haven't been telling us, but I feel like if you have the ability to do this, why isn't there ability to fix cancer or fix uncurable diseases? You know what I mean? Like, it just makes, unless they're not telling us, like I said, like they have it and they're just not telling us. But this is super cool. On Tuesday, Colossal revealed that 2 genetically identical male dire wolf pups named Romulus and Remus were born on October 1st of last year, with their sister Khaleesi following a few months later on January 30th. Sansa or Arya may technically be more appropriate Game of Thrones inspired names for a dire wolf or even Lady or Nymeria, but you can't deny that Khaleesi is immediately recognizable. They're beautiful, they're cute, they're incredible, said Ben Lamb, co-founder and CEO of Colossal Biosciences, told Mashable, sounding every bit the enthusiastic new dog parent. We took a 13,000-year-old tooth and a 72,000-year-old skull and made puppies. How awesome is that? Created from edited gray wolf genomes, Colossal states that these 3 canines are proof that a standardized toolkit for de-extinction is possible. Probably did cost a lot of money too as well. And here are the cute puppies. Oh my god, they are cute. I want to take one. How did Colossal create its dire wolves? Directly using dire wolf cells to clone a new animal isn't currently possible, as such material simply doesn't exist. Instead, Colossal used ancient DNA and comparative genome genomics, following a methodology similar to the one in its woolly mouse project. Revealed in March, Colossal's woolly mice were created by editing the genome of normal mice to display physical traits similar to those found in woolly mammoths, most significantly their long, fluffy fur. For its dire wolf project, Colossal began with the aforementioned 13,000-year-old tooth from Ohio and a 72,000-year-old inner ear bone from Idaho. Sampling these specimens and building on previous findings, Colossal's team extracted and sequenced dire wolf DNA, assembled genomes, and compared the results to that of living canines. This enabled them to pinpoint where dire wolves' genomes differ from that of other species. In doing so, they discovered that gray wolves share 99.5% of their DNA with dire wolves, making them the extinct animal's closest living relative. I mean, I obviously, because let me see. Look at them. They do look like gray wolves, just white. They're beautiful, though. Using this information, Colossal then employed a gene editing method called CRISPR to edit the gray wolf's genome to more closely resemble that of a dire wolf. So, I mean, if they could do this with a wolf, could they do this with a caveman? If we had something from a caveman, could they bring back a caveman? Could they bring back dinosaurs? This is crazy. To do this, they made 20 strategic edits across 14 genes, with 15 of the edits recreating extinct gene variants. The nuclei were then removed from the resultant cells and transferred into donor egg cells, creating embryos that Colossal transplanted into surrogates. Leave it to bake, and soon you have a dire wolf pup. It wasn't a simple process, though, and just as in human fertilization, it's lab created, obviously. Not every embryo resulted in a pregnancy. Colossal made multiple attempts in an effort to increase the odds of success, completing 8 embryo transfers involving between 30 to 45 specimens each. There were a couple of times where a pregnancy was established early on, but was resorbed. And in the end, we ended up with these 3 animals that are healthy. Colossal Chief Science Officer Beth Shapiro told Mashable, I mean, obviously, since they've got 2 males and 1 female, they obviously can reproduce now. Creating dire wolves from blood. Colossal also announced that it has developed a new, less invasive cloning method to create its dire wolves using cells never previously used in such procedures. Specifically, its scientists use endothelial progenitor cells, EPCs, gathered by drawing in animals' blood as opposed to using their cells retrieved via skin biopsy. So could this be the step into cloning us? This is crazy. I don't know. I've always said I wish I could I wish I had a clone of myself because I know I could get the job done correctly. And if I had another person, it'd make my job a lot easier. That was me. But I mean, I don't know how I feel about that because that'd be kind of freaky having a clone, like having clones walking around. Like, I don't know. They should make a horror movie about that. Because it's crazy. Like, if there's a clone of you, obviously, I mean, you're not going to have a perfect first set. So something is going to like fire incorrectly in a clone if they do get to that technology of cloning people. That's crazy. I feel like we might get demented people though out of it. Emily, thank you for gifting 1 membership. Welcome Heather Salvatore to the Wolf Pack. Hearts for Emily. Heather Salvatore, oh my God, thank you for that generous super chat. Hearts for Heather Salvatore. No, don't mess with Saquakick. Hearts for Heather and Emily. Thank you, ladies. I mean, I'm reading this, but I don't know what a progenitor cell is. Even though it says, I mean, I feel like that's too. I liked science, but I wasn't that science nerd. I did like science though in high school, but not like to the point where I wanted to become a genetic scientist or anything. These progenitor cells, we eventually become the cells that make up the lining of blood vessels, said Shapiro, because they're not all the way down the path to having a very specific job as a cell. It's easier to reprogram them. And we've also found that it's easier to establish really healthy cell lines. So it's great for biobanking. Biobanking is the collection and storage of biological samples for conservation or research purposes. Colosso also used the same method to clone 4 red wolves, 1 female and 3 males, a critically endangered species. I was going to say those are endangered as well. But I think in certain states, it's not red wolves though, but in certain states, they're allowing hunters, like people, to hunt wolves. And I'm kind of pissed off about that. That pisses me off. It's estimated there are fewer than 20 red wolves currently in the wild. Shapiro said that though they only conducted 2 embryo transfers for red wolves, both resulted in successful pregnancies. Normally, when you're doing this, the reprogramming step is such that it takes many more tries than that to have a successful pregnancy from a clone cell. It's kind of similar to when they do in vitro fertilization. It sounds almost like similar, said Shapiro. So we're pretty confident that this is really great technology that can be used for cloning animals in the future. We're pretty excited because we think that de-extinction and species preservation goes hand in hand. So could Jurassic Park be a reality? I don't know about dinosaurs roaming Los Angeles. That would freak me out. I mean, it'd be cool to see a dinosaur. I think all of us would love to see a dinosaur up close. But I also think it's a thing for disaster as well. Heather, I've been here. I've been going on Thursdays at 8. 15, unfortunately. I had to get a 9 to 5 job to pay the bills because unfortunately this my dream of podcasting was not paying the bills, so I had to get something to supplement. So I can only go on one day, unfortunately, right now. The Karen show goes, I could think of nothing worse than living forever. It's gonna be like I don't think I would want to because I'm a huge fan of it. It brings me back to Highlander. Yeah, I was trying to think. Wait a minute, what am I thinking? It brings me back to that with Christopher Lambert and how he would fall in love, but he never aged, and he had to watch all his loved ones pass. I don't think I could ever do that. Like having that. I mean, it could be a gift to some, but it could be a curse to others. I feel like that's a very lonely life. I feel like because if you're the only one that has that, I mean, obviously there were others that had that ability that were going after him to unalive him. But I still feel like to have that gift curse is a very lonely life. So I don't think I would want that. I mean, maybe for one day, maybe to try it, but I don't think I would want it. I think, I mean, after a while, I feel like life I like I said, you would see all your loved ones die and you would just go on, you know what I mean? There'd be no I feel like I don't know, would it be a fruitful life? You know what I mean? So what makes a wolf a dire wolf? The white coat, whether or not colossal dire wolves are real, dire wolves depend on how strictly one defines the species. Technically, colossal doesn't have any viable material straight from a dire wolf to work with. The company didn't find this an insurmountable obstacle, though, working with a gray wolf genome based on an acceptable substitute instead. I mean, obviously, it's a lab created animal, which is still cool to see how far we've come. Um, Today with the scientific advances that we have now, we focus on what genes kind of drive, like what makes a dire wolf, and then how do we engineer them into the gray wolf, said Lamb, because they are 99.5% the same genetically. So there's a 5% where they're different, or zero point 0.5. Colossal discovered during its DNA sequencing that dire wolves would have had thick white coats. They were also around 25% larger than gray wolves with wider heads and stronger jaws. Accordingly, colossal wolves have a distinctly more muscular build than the leader gray wolf, so they lift weights. They go to the gym. They're they're also already over 80 pounds at 6 months old. What? No way, really? Holy crap. Which is comparable weight to a fully grown gray wolf, as much as Lamb expects that the dire wolves may end up weighing around 140 pounds once they reach adulthood. Holy crap, I do not want to mess with that wolf. When we talk about de-extinction, we're talking about bringing back the core features, the core traits that are the species that used to be alive, explained Shapiro. There are many different ways that people can consider what a species is, but we're talking about the functional trait. So we're bringing back these functional traits. So I feel like, I mean, obviously it's lab created. Um, Still pretty cool. I mean, obviously it's probably not, I mean, people are going to say it's not real because it's lab created, but still, honestly, if it has the traits, I still think it's cool. It's still cool. Um, but like I said, like they could do all this stuff, but like, do they have a cure for cancer? Do they have a cure for incurable diseases? You know, if you could do this, why can't you do that? Like, it's crazy. Denny go would love a wolf like the one in Games of Thrones. That Denny, it is the dire wolf in the Game of Thrones. Ozzy, what's up? Heather Salvatore, sorry for your loss. Sorry to hear. Denny goes with a cure. The bigwigs won't be making money. True. I mean, yeah, but then obviously that's what I'm saying. They probably do have it already. They're just not telling us. Or like a cure for Parkinson's disease, like what my dad passed of, or a cure for. I mean, obviously Michael J. Fox has lived um all this time with it, but you could see that he is declining. And I know he has a foundation that is trying to find a cure, or he has a foundation that is, I don't know if it's trying to find a cure, but that is involved with Parkinson's as well. I do know there's like a lot of childhood, not non-curable childhood diseases that, like, why aren't we doing this kind of stuff? It's crazy. That's a Matthew. I was wondering where you went. I was like, where's Matthew? Glad you made it, Matthew. Carol goes, I would love to own one. Always wanted a wolf. Oh my God, I would love to have a wolf. Except I would need land to have a wolf. I wouldn't have one here. If I had land, like a house with land, I would definitely have a wolf for sure. If I could have one. Ozzy goes, I think if humans caused the extinction of a species, then maybe it's okay to bring them back, but not something that became extinct due to the forces of nature. True, true. I agree. I mean, obviously we also have the red wolves that are very limited too as well. I don't know if it's because I mean, obviously things become extinct because of very various reasons. Like it could have been weather, it could have been um disease, it could have been just like anything. I agree, Denny. Not bringing back dangerous ones. I feel like I was talking about earlier. I feel like if they tried to clone humans, and I'm thinking like a horror movie, like if they tried to clone humans, like that clone would not come out like us. Like something would be like something will be not like something would be off with them. And I feel like they'll look like us though, but there be like a dark side to them. Like I feel like obviously if they ever did that, it would have to be like, and it'd be sad because it kind of be, you would have a human person that you'd be looking through a window and experimenting on. And I think that's kind of sad. But I feel like if they do that, that's what they have to do because if something, mentally goes wrong with the thing, you know what I mean? And then, yeah, no, I wouldn't want 100 of these walking around, if you know what I mean. Ozzy goes, they have all our DMA from all these swab tests. They do. Heather, whatever goes, yes, Lisa's scary. It is. It is. It's scary. I mean, it's cool in some ways, but it's scary in the other because you don't know how the mind works. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, even like them with the dire wolves, you don't know how they're going to react. But obviously, they're an animal, so animals are unpredictable to begin with. So that's like a little different. They're wild. They're supposed to be, but they're unpredictable begin with. Even even a dog like that you've had for years could be unpredictable. You don't know how they're going to react to certain things. So, an animal I feel like is a little different than if they did humans. Humans is like another like Heather Salvatore is asking, does anyone know what an outlander is? No, I know there was a show on Stars called that. Julius, exactly. How do you clone a soul? Like how? emotions. I mean, obviously, we kind of, unless they clone, like, they clone a baby, like where you birth the baby, like that type of thing. I mean, obviously these dire wolves were birthed. So same thing, like you would birth the baby, but I feel like still like that's kind of sad because then it'd be a test subject, you know what I mean? And I wouldn't want that. It would kind of be like that where you teach it where you would teach it behaviors like we do any other child. But I don't know. I don't know. I mean, obviously we're probably going to end up going down that route one way or another. I know the robots that they're creating are getting more human like as the years go by. So I'm pretty sure there's going to be something along the lines of cloning. I mean, obviously they're already starting out with, animals. What's next? It's saying it's a camper. If you're going that route, Heather Salvatore, it's Outlander is a camper van. Like a camper van, like a 4x4. Actually, kind of looks pretty cool. I actually kind of want a camper van, or no, a van that's like a. You know how they have those vans that are like an RV, but they're not. Like they have the bed and the kitchen and sink. I want one of those. Don't ask me why, but I want one of those. Heather, whatever. Thank you for that super chat. Heart for Heather, whatever. And I also want to shout out Heather Whatever for your PayPal as well. So hearts for Heather Whatever, guys. Thank you, Heather Whatever. I appreciate that. Julissa goes, yes, my friend had one. She loves to camp. I always wanted, I don't know why I want one, but I want one. Also, too, I saw this cryptid and I thought it was kind of cool. So I wanted to talk about it. It's a cryptid I hadn't talked about, or I didn't even know it existed, because I usually talk about, the chupacabra, Bigfoot. Um, Speaking of that, this is kind of an older article, but speaking of Bigfoot, it looked like the state of California, which is crazy. Let me see if I can find the link. Hold on, guys. Um, where the heck is it? Oh, here you go. It looks like the state of California. It's kind of an older article. It came out in February, but there's a California bill that aims to recognize Bigfoot as the state's official cryptid. I was like, what? And then we'll get into the crazy cryptid. Um, One small step for man and an even smaller step for Bigfoot. A new bill in California state legislature seeks to recognize the elusive Bigfoot as the state official cryptid. The legislation proposed by Assemblyman member Chris Rogers would designate Bigfoot as an official mascot of the Golden State. Hey, that's kind of cool. which has made a hotbed of Sasquatch sightings since the late 50s, according to SF Gate. Cryptid is a term used for a mythical creature that are known through folklore, but which have been not definitely proven to exist. Other examples of cryptids, which are often regional in nature, include a New Jersey devil, West Virginia's Mothman, and the chupacabra in Mexico. Roger represents Norte, Humboldt, Mendocino, Sonoma, and Trinity counties in Northern California region, long considered Sasquatch territory. The question of which mythical creature best represents California is a hairy one, Roger said in comment to the post, but we feel like it's time to squash the beef. It's not the Tahoe Tessie or El Chupacabra that generates buzz and interest from outdoor enthusiasts. It's Bigfoot. In all seriousness, the bill was originally intended to be a spot bill, which would disappear like Bigfoot when we aimed it or amend it. But given the heaviness of some of the challenges our state is facing, it has been a fun moment of levity for my colleagues and community. The term Bigfoot was coined by a California newspaper article that appeared in the Humboldt Times in 1958, reporting on loggers who discovered mysteriously large 16-inch human-like footprints in the vicinity of Bluff Creek in the dense Douglas fir forest. One witness made a plaster cast of the footprint and submitted it as evidence to the Humboldt Times. From there, locals told tales of massive forest dwellers roaming the Sierra Nevada and other mountain ranges surrounding the northern Central Valley, and the Sasquatch eventually made its way to mainstream popular culture. The most famous alleged footage of Bigfoot was captured while walking through the Redwood Forest in 1967 at Six Rivers National Forest, just miles away from Willow Creek, the most Bigfoot-obsessed town in America. Willow Creek is home to a Bigfoot restaurant, a Bigfoot golf course, and a Bigfoot museum. Last year, 2 Bigfoot hunters in Washington state passed away while searching the wilderness of Gifford Pintot National Forest. I know I butchered that for the mythical creature. Officials from the Skamanian County Sheriff's Office say the 2 unprepared Oregon squashers died of exposure amid the harsh weather conditions. So it's kind of cool to make it the official mascot of California, Bigfoot. So that brings us to my next cryptid. The not deer cryptid, which I thought it had a cool name. I was like, what the heck? Is exactly what it sounds like. The not deer is a creature that looks like a normal deer, but just isn't. Reports of this strange deer come from the Appalachian region, where hikers and drivers claim to have seen something that resembled a white-tailed deer, but moves in an unsettling way. What is a not deer? With forward-facing eyes, unnatural sounds, and behavior that doesn't match typical deer stories, this cryptid has captured the imagination of many. Unlike normal deer, not deer walk oddly on their hind legs, have pointed ears that twitch too precisely, or even stare directly at people eerily. Some link these sightings to real diseases. Others believe the creature could be something else, maybe something from Native American folklore. The not deer versus a normal deer. At first glance, a not deer might seem like any other white-tailed deer grazing in the woods, but look closer and you might notice its proportions are slightly off. Maybe its legs are too long, its neck is too thick, or its movements are unnervingly stiff. Some reports even describe not deer standing fully upright on their hind legs like a person. Unlike normal deer, which tend to avoid humans, not deer supposedly lock eyes with people in an almost predatory way. Their forward facing eyes give them an unnatural human like gaze, making encounters especially chilling. Could it be a disease? Which a lot of people would probably say. Skeptics believe, I mean, obviously, nothing wrong with being a skeptic. Nothing wrong. I feel like a skeptic it's a good thing to kind of be a skeptic because you enter or you look at things um not blinded, like, because if someone's like a true believer, like, oh my god, that's what it is. But if you're skeptic, you kind of look at it with different eyes, and I feel like you'd be more accurate in investigating things. Skeptics believe not deer sightings or real illnesses affecting deer populations. Chronic wasting disease, sometimes called zombie deer disease, is a neurological disorder that causes infected deer to behave erratically, stumble, and lose their fear of humans. Similarity, epizootic hemorrhagic disease can make deer appear disoriented or act strangely before they die. While these diseases can explain some odd deer behavior, they don't fully account for the eerie intelligence and unnatural sounds reported by witnesses, though there's been no scientific evidence of these not deer actually existing. A legend in the Appalachian region. The area surrounding Boone, North Carolina, has been home to alleged not deer encounters. Stories of strange deer appear in some folklore, often describing spirits or shapeshifters that take on the form of animals that don't behave as they should. They're probably going to say something like the Wendigo. We create, but that is it. I mean, I don't think I would ever want to come face to face with one. Um, I mean, obviously, there's always a scientific reason to things, which I either way, I mean, there's obviously some truth to. I always feel like there's some truth to these stories because, I mean, obviously, if someone, my camera moved, um, obviously, I feel like someone saw something. It just might not necessarily be what we know of it today. Heather whatever goes, what? Zombie deer? Eek. Find Bambi one French fry, but you're freaking my dog out. He would lose it. Heather Salvatore is going inbreeding deer. Julissa goes, I see deer all the time on morning walks. This one would really spook me. Nerd Report saying amazing show. Thanks for the support. Julissa goes, that sounds like Lewis's Bambi. Carol goes, Expedition Bigfoot is a show on the Travel Channel. They say Northern California is a hot zone. But anyways, guys, I'm going to open it up for questions. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. I will also give you a few minutes to look for Skeleduck. Um, real quick, we all know that there's going to be a what I did. You know what I did last summer? And I didn't know like if any of the returning actors from the original were gonna come into this newer one. And yes, Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr. are gonna be in it. Um, I don't know how I feel about it, but I guess I mean I'll watch it. But it is set to release on January 18th, 2025 in the summer. I mean, obviously, they're trying to bring the '90s back to this generation, but I don't think they need to. They should just leave it in the past. Um, I don't think it's gonna have the same effect as the first movie because obviously, if you're remaking it, it's just gonna be the same thing. Like, there's not gonna be anything new, I feel like. But I mean, I guess for fans, it's cool. What, Dusty? That sucks! My life is in turmoil right now because of my psycho landlord as she doesn't understand the meaning of allowing a renter 45 days to move out. Been turning my power off and the police can do nothing. That sucks. What is up, Capone? Sorry to hear that, Dusty. That sucks. But there's some landlords that can be assholes. Unfortunately. The Karen show, I don't like remakes. They always seem to be disappointing. Yes, I agree with you, Karen. I don't like remakes either. They don't have the same effect as the originals. So I don't like them. I mean, I didn't mind like the newer Friday the 13th cuz I like Friday the 13th, so no matter what, I'm going to like it. But I actually did not mind it. The newer Nightmare on Elm Street, I didn't like it at all cuz they changed the actor and I didn't really care for it. Um but I'm with you, Karen. I don't like remakes. I honestly don't because I feel like there's nothing we already know what's going to happen, so there's not really I mean some of them aren't bad, like, I've seen a few that I liked. Like, I like My Bloody Valentine, like, they did a remake of it, and I enjoyed it. So, it just depends on the movie. But then again, I hadn't seen the original, My Bloody Valentine till after the new one, because I was like, "Oh, there's an original?" So then I started watching the original, but it's almost identical, though. Um, almost the same thing, it's just updated. Nerd Report Goes Dawn of the Dead 2004 was amazing. So it just depends. Like I there's some remakes I do enjoy and there's some I don't. I don't know, like I said, I don't know how I'm gonna feel. I know what you did last summer because I feel like we already know like the punchline to it. Maybe they'll make like I don't know how more they can do with it. Obviously, fans are gonna like it. The fans, the Uber fans of the show. Sorry, I was reading something. Heather, whatever goes Phantom of the Opera was cool. It just depends. Like I said, it just depends. Some movies you can make a remake for and it's still amazing. There's some because obviously when you make a movie in the 80s and you make one now, like, I still think the makeup and the special effects in the 80s is better than we have now. But sometimes, just sometimes they make it a little bit better. Karen goes, I am surprised that they never tried to remake The Ghost and Mrs. Muir, the movie, not the TV show, but the original is classic. It, it just depends. Like I said, it all depends on the movie. All right, guys, I think I gave you enough time to look for Skeleduck. I'll give you another minute or so. Heather Salvatore goes, can we make a horror film? I'm honestly not that I don't think I'm that creative. I'm not that creative. I don't think I could make a horror film. Or I don't think I'm that artistic. Wow, Dusty. Scary few weeks ahead. I can't move into my new place until May 1st. Just hang in there, Dusty. So, guys, Skeleduck, he is probably on your right hand. He's on my left hand. So you see Art the clown here where my finger's pointing? And you see that little beak sticking out? Right where my finger pointed. He is right there. That's his beak. He's right behind Sonic the Hedgehog here. Denny Rose goes a camping horror film called Lisa and the Wolfpack. He's next to Sonic. Right there. He's right in between Art the Clown and Sonic, like right where my finger's pointing. That's his beak. And Carol found him. I cannot get past you, Carol. One of these days I will. All right, guys. That's where the chat is. All right, guys. Any last minute questions before I end this stream? All right, guys. If without further ado, I am going to end the stream here. Thank you for joining me on this edition of Grayson Report. I will see you on the next one. So until then, stay spooky, sweet nightmares, and have a great rest of your week and a great weekend. See you on the next one. Good night, guys, and thank you.